The following podcast will contain spoilers, tangents, hot takes, and excessive foul language. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy the show.
Greetings, horror fans, and welcome to episode 349 of Frightmares. I am your host, Austin Proctor, and joining me today for 2021's Antlers is Cory Johnson.
Heyo, everybody. I'm the saddest child that ever lived.
Oh, my God. Yeah, these kids, man. Talk about some killer acting from, when a movie's based, the story is based around these kids, and you have to have a strong kid actor, and boy did these kids do very well. Obviously you see one more than the other, but nonetheless.
And it's so wild because they don't say anything.
They say very little to nothing throughout the entire movie. But this is exciting because, as I say every episode, I don't know why I always start with this is exciting, probably because I just love talking about movies. You have not seen this one. And
I have not.
Yeah.
There was actually a good bit of discourse on this show about this movie when it came out, because this was at the time where Jessica and I were just like wantonly going to like, oh, hey, it's fucking Sunday, let's go to the movies type shit. Like, yeah. I'm just gonna buy a ticket and we're just gonna go. And I remember you and I talking, I was like, oh, this looks fucking cool. The trailers don't give you nothing. Like, I don't know what it's about. Antlers, what is that? And then I remember coming back from the movies one day and telling you, oh man, they fucking spoiled it in the trailer. I'm not going to see it. And then I didn't go and see it. And then I didn't rent it. And I just wrote the movie off because the final theatrical trailer that got released like in theaters spoiled what it was. And I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, it's very much akin to Abigail, where they spoil that in the trailer. And if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil it. I mean, not at this point, it doesn't matter. It's everyone knows. If you watch the trailer, they spoil the surprise or what could have been a surprise of that girl being a creature. But of course, they showed that in the trailer, and I'm like, that would have been the twist of the fucking century if they didn't reveal that. So yeah, unfortunately, they do in the trailer for this one show you that it's a Wendigo. But I don't know. It didn't I don't know if it really affected my first viewing. I guess I just knew what I could expect more. But honestly, there's not that many movies specifically centered around Wendigo. So I don't really have many expectations. I just want a cool creature. So that's just me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is kind of sort of like almost a closed practice belief. So I think that's why we don't get a whole lot of media about it, because most of the people that are of that culture and actually know like the true facts and the true cultural lore behind it, they're not making movies.
Exactly. So, and that's really cool about this movie is they actually do incorporate some real world lore. And then they have, I love how they have like one Native American person that comes into the movie. He's there for a little bit, explains the lore, and then the white guy just dismisses him immediately. And you're like, well, you almost had it, movie. You almost did it right. So, well, we kind of talked about our history there. Like I said, for any movie going forward, I saw this in theaters. I saw the trailer had come out and I got excited about it. And I really enjoyed it on my first watch. Let me double check. I don't think I had watched it since theaters. I think this might only be my second time watching this movie. because, my life is just filled with trying to catch up on every single new horror movie I possibly can. So yeah, I've only seen this one twice, and for me, it still worked just as well as it did the first time. So we will talk about Antlers here in just a minute, but before we do that, we got to do this. We got to talk about what did Jason Hill make me watch this week. He actually nailed this movie for theming, because by the time this episode releases, it will be right before Black Friday, but really it doesn't even exist anymore. November is just Black Friday at this point. So the summary for Black Friday from 2021 is a group of toy store employees must protect each other from a horde of parasite-infected shoppers. This is a great movie, and I don't understand why it has the rating it does. First off, you have a great cast. You have Devon Sawa. You have Bruce fucking Campbell. You have Ivana Baquero, and if that doesn't sound familiar, she played Ophelia in Pan's Labyrinth. Michael Jai White, and even Seth Green pops up as well. The comedy is also so good. One of the main characters, Brian, his name is Stephen Peck. He carries a lot of the comic relief, and not in a bad way. He just radiates humor. And it's a shame he hasn't done more, because he was excellent in this. He doesn't even have a picture on IMDb, so I need him to do more things. Of course, Bruce Campbell is awesome as always. He's playing the store manager of this toy store, and despite the fact that there are actual parasitic monsters breaking into the store and raining chaos, he's like, no, we got to reopen for Black Friday because we gotta make profit. Great fucking humor, practical effects, shockingly good for a low budget movie. Could not find the how much it cost, but I can't imagine it was more than $1 million. It's also a bottle film, which I love. It's all contained in one place. It's in a store, and they waste no time, as the runtime is only 87 minutes, moves very quickly. I also love the originality that it is set on Black Friday, because yes, we have seen snippets from movies like Krampus or Thanksgiving that do involve the holiday, but this is specifically set around that day, a horror movie, which is very rare. It has, like I said, it has a shockingly low rating of a 2.3 out of 5. Jason gave it a 2.5 out of 5, and he said, I love this review, it was fun enough. Such a Jason review. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. It's just a great time, and it's streaming on Prime. Have you ever heard and or seen of this? Yes. Heard of or seen this?
I've definitely heard of it. I feel like this might have been a movie that I watched right around the very beginning of our podcast.
No, it came out in 2021.
Oh, then no, I've never seen it.
Okay. Well, that settles that then. So yeah, if you enjoy just a fun, kooky time, and again, really solid practical effects, the only time those effects kind of falter is towards the end of the movie. They do rely a little bit more on CG, but there is a big bad that emerges, which is clearly someone in a suit that they have just made really large. So it looks wonky, but you can tell it is oh, this is still practical. They're just blowing his proportions up on screen to make this thing look bigger and more badass. But it's a great movie. Also, bleak ending, which I just love. I love a good bleak ending, because yes, it's nice when horror movies are yay, we defeated evil, but also when it's oh, the world's probably gonna end. That's also fun. So check that out, especially since it is right around the time of Thanksgiving and Black Friday.
Jason says, check it out. You'll probably hate it.
You'll probably hate it.
How about we talk about some highest grossing movies and Oscar winners for 2021? Boy, what a fucking year of movies I have not heard of. Except for the first two, obviously. Highest grossing movie of the year goes to Spider-Man No Way Home. $1.9 billion. I know Marvel movies rake in money, but geez.
Yeah, the 2020s is the downfall of movies as an art form and the upswing of movies as a financial vehicle.
Yeah, but for the highest grossing horror movie, I don't believe this definitely was not a soulless movie. I mean, I really did like No Way Home, especially with the all the Peter Parkers in there.
No, don't get me wrong. I liked it.
Yeah.
Some could even say it's in my top 5 Spider-Man movies.
That's fair.
Doesn't mean it's not a soulless cash grab.
All right.
I like The Devil 2.
Highest grossing horror movie is A Quiet Place Part 2, $297.3 million. Good for them. And they also have Day One, and I think they're doing another one. Honestly, they've all been so good. Just keep pumping them out. I don't even care at this point. This is the 94th Academy Awards presented on Sunday, March 27th, 2022, honoring movies released in 2021. Here come all those movies that I haven't fucking heard of. Best actor goes to Will Smith for King Richard. I haven't heard of that one.
That was the Venus and Serena biopic that they funded about their dad.
Okay. Now it's ringing a bell. Actor in a supporting role goes to Troy Kotsur for Coda, another movie I haven't heard of. Best actress goes to Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Sounds familiar, but I couldn't place it. Actress in a supporting role, Ariana DeBose for West Side Story. Cinematography to Greg Fraser for Dune, well-deserved. Director goes to Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog. No fucking clue. Musical score, Hans Zimmer, for Dune. And Best Picture goes to Coda. Again, something I had never heard of in my entire life and was like, okay, this is probably going to be one of those ones that it doesn't deserve the Oscar.
Yeah, just Oscar bait.
Boy, was I fucking wrong. Let me tell you how goddamn good this movie was. So Coda, the description on IMDb is, when the family's fishing business is threatened, Ruby finds herself torn between pursuing her musical passion and her fear of abandoning her deaf parents. So this is like, I don't know. Okay, I know there's signing in movies, I'm sure, but I think this is the first movie to have a main characters as a family that are all deaf. Like 3 out of 4 members were deaf. So most of the movie is like sign language with obviously subtitles. So I found that fascinating because I cannot think of a movie that has done this before. Do they exist? Maybe.
I raise you one, but not in the exact same criteria that you're describing. They're not all deaf, but most of the movie is done in sign language. A Quiet Place.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay. Yes.
But that's the only one.
No, you're right, because the daughter in that one is, so this is like this is actually almost a reverse of A Quiet Place, because instead of the daughter being deaf, the whole family in Coda is deaf and the daughter is not. So like I said, I'd never heard of this. I went into this blind. I did not read anything beforehand. I just saw it was on Apple TV. The first time I've ever used Apple TV for streaming, by the way.
Oh man, Apple TV has some fucking bangers.
Yeah, I need to watch the shows for I know there's a lot I need to catch up on with the shows, but this is the first time I've used it for a movie. Sorry, I should have specified. So I got the vibes right away from what was going on. You know, our main character Ruby has a family that's deaf. She is not, and their business is struggling. I was like, I got it. Was not a fan though of the mom dismissing her daughter for joining a choir because she's like, she's like, you can't sing. And I'm like, as an audience member, you're deaf. How do you know she can't sing? Yeah. Like, no offense, but I was like, you literally have no idea that she can sing or not sing. Anyways, but Ruby ends up taking on so much, and everything is kind of hinging on her shoulders with the family because an issue arises with their business and them being deaf as fishermen. So she's forced to not do choir and join and possibly go to school for music because she is so talented. Or stay home with her family to help them because they clearly need the help. So yeah, she's trying to juggle too much at once. She's the only one who can speak, and the family relies on her for signing because they have a business, and it causes a rift between them. Like it's a very emotionally powerful film. And did you know, fun fact, that because I didn't, apparently the public school system failed me, deafness can be genetic. I did not know that.
I didn't know that.
100%. I was researching it, and it was like, this is the cause. It is the cause for about 50% of cases where hearing loss is present at birth because someone in the family, like the mother or father, was deaf. Did not know that because the mother and father are deaf, and they had a son who was deaf. And they had a daughter who is not. So sometimes it can, sometimes it can't. Literally, the 50% margin there is showcased between these two kids. So this movie was so goddamn good. I don't ever get emotional during films. It is very rare that I get emotional. This movie had me fucking weeping at the end. I'm not even gonna lie. It was an emotional gut punch, but in a happy way. Not like, oh, I'm so distraught over what's happening. You're like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. There's nothing else I can do besides cry. Has a 3.9 out of 5 on the Letterboxd. I gave it a 5 out of 5. It was truly just a magnificent, beautiful film. I didn't write a review for it because it's one of those movies, or not yet at least, because usually my reviews are poking fun or making a joke, but there's no joke about this. You know, like, this is a very serious matter, and it brought to my attention, like, really, you know, obviously I'm sure deaf people struggle living in a world that requires hearing, but just seeing how they are almost deemed as outcasts in society just because they can't hear, I was like, I never thought about that. You know, people treat them differently just because they're the weirdos who can't hear. And I say weirdos in quotes because that's literally how they're treated. So I couldn't think of like a funny review. So I haven't written one yet. Like I said, it's streaming on Apple TV Plus. You have to have Plus because you can have Apple TV, but usually have to pay for things. I recommend it. It's very good. It's probably going to be, I think right now in my Oscar rankings, it's number 2 out of the rest of the movies I've seen. It's the second movie I've given 5 out of 5 though too. Highly recommend it. Just be prepared for that ending. Switching gears completely, let's go to the IMDb Roundup. Booyah! This is Antlers from 2021, released on October 29th of that year in the U.S., rated R for violence, including gruesome images, and for language, mild sex and nudity, severe violence and gore, moderate profanity, mild alcohol, drugs, and smoking, and severe frightening and intense scenes. Coming in at 1 hour and 39 minutes, listed as a drama horror mystery. Directed by Scott Cooper, who I clearly got confused with Scott Derrickson because the movies he directed, Scott Cooper, Crazy Heart, Black Mass, and The Pale Blue Eye. I've heard of 2 of those and seen 1. Written by 3 people, Henry Chassion, who only has 6 other credits. He wrote 4 episodes of Servant from 2022 to 2023. Then we have Nick Antosca, who wrote 24 episodes of Channel Zero, which is an incredible horror anthology, kind of like AHS, where each season is a different story. The Act TV miniseries with that one chick who killed her mom. I don't know. She was just recently released and went on TikTok. That girl.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Gypsy Rose, yeah. Crazy fucking TV series. And then Tentacles, which was a Hulu Into the Dark episode. I really wish they would bring those back. And then Scott Cooper, who has written everything he's directed. Composed by Javier Navarrete, if I'm saying that correctly. He also composed The Devil's Backbone, Pan's Labyrinth, and then Mirrors. What a fucking arc there.
Yeah.
Cinematography by Florian Hofmeister, who also did the cinematography for it. Johnny English Strikes Again, which I didn't even know there was a sequel. Tar, and 6 episodes of True Detective. Edited by Dylan Tichenor, who also edited Unbreakable, There Will Be Blood, and Eternals. Very interesting career there. Starring Kerry Russell, who is a wildly underrated actress as Julia Meadows. She was also recently in Cocaine Bear as Sari. We have Jesse Plemons as Paul Meadows, and he is another underrated actor. He's in that brand new movie.
I don't think he's underrated at this point. I think we're at a point where Jesse Plemons is like pretty accepted as, oh, that guy's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. For me, he's always been underrated, but I guess since like Civil War, he's kind of been in the he's been current, but he's also in a brand new movie this year called Begonia as Teddy. We have Scott Hayes as Frank Weaver, who was in Jurassic World Dominion as Rain Delacourt, Jeremy T. Thomas as Lucas Weaver. He has not done a lot of acting, but he was also in 2 episodes of The Righteous Gemstones as Harmon Freeman. And then we have Sawyer Jones as Aidan Weaver, who was also in 4 episodes of Shrinking as Mason, which I'm pretty sure Shrinking is an Apple TV show, right?
It is. And
look at that.
Not only is it an Apple TV show, I'm going to go on record and say it is. Like, people say, oh, no, Severance is the best. No, Shrinking is the absolute best because it is a sitcom, rom-com drama about therapists.
Oh yeah, no, I know what it is. I need it. That's another one I need to watch.
It's so good. And the cast, I could spend a whole show talking about shrinking.
We'll do a new podcast. Where was estimated budget of 10.6 million, doing very bad, only grossing 18.9 million. Even though it's set in Oregon, it was filmed in British Columbia, Canada, and you can get this on Amazon for a $3.79 rental. Movies that came out around the same time. This is why I think this movie did not do so well, because we have The Eyes of Tammy Faye, The Addams Family 2, Venom Let There Be Carnage, No Time to Die, Halloween Kills, Dune, Last Night in Soho, The French Dispatch, Eternals, Ghostbusters Afterlife, Encanto, House of Gucci, and Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, but I think that went straight to streaming. So you've got 3 kids movies, 2 fucking superhero movies. Yeah, that was not a good time to release this movie. IMDb summary: in an isolated Oregon town, a middle school teacher and her sheriff brother become embroiled with her enigmatic student, whose dark secrets lead to terrifying encounters with an ancestral creature. This is Antlers.
What's going on?
We found a part of a man in the woods today.
Part of the man?
I guess the other half was found in the mine. Oh, this has got to be an animal, right?
No animal that I've ever seen.
Something is going on with Lucas. These drawings belong to a student of mine.
This is what was in the mine. It's a diabolical spirit.
Excuse me, this is a myth.
Well, for you, yeah.
He's not your responsibility.
He has no one. He is my responsibility.
He'll come for me. He needs me. He's here.
So, Cory, overall thoughts on Antlers? I'm excited to hear this because you've never seen it. What do we got?
Yeah, so my overall thoughts, honestly, because I only watched it 2 days ago, are still kind of forming. It was a good movie. There was some things that I felt were a little left to be desired, and because of the way it was shot, I take some personal umbrage towards, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But overall, it was a really well acted movie for the amount of acting that happened. Outside of my one favorite line of the movie, I could not tell you any dialogue that happened in this movie. This could have been a dialogue-less movie and still had roughly the same impact, because it is more about what is actively happening and less about the why of what is happening, because they give you the whole setup and they tell you what happened, but never once do they go, why?
Yeah. You're 100%.
You get the mine and you get the medicine bags and you get the thing that happens, but there's it wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
Type of situation. But then that doesn't meld with the lore of what's going on.
Right.
So it's very ambiguous as to the whole why of the situation, which in some cases in this movie works really well. But in other cases, you're like, but give me 5 more sentences on that, please.
give me some breadcrumbs here. No, that's a very, very well thought out, even though they're still brewing overall thoughts. Mine are, I think this is an incredibly developed story that does not rely too heavily on jump scares, much gore, and tells a haunting tale of a mythological beast. It creates a very unnervingly tense atmosphere that oozes dread. So let's talk about that opening scene, because I really like this opening scene. You know me and my love for when movies start out with text on screen. Not only does this get text on screen, you get some fucking some Native American language reading it out, and I'm like, oh, this is scratching my brain right where it itches. The text on screen says, it is the Ojibwe language that is still spoken nowadays. It says, Mother Earth has been pillaged and stripped of her life's blood, a violation that has awakened the malevolent spirit seeking the lost and frail and the depraved. Pray it desires, not you. And the opening shot is fucking gorgeous. It is a sweeping shot over a lake that pans up to this mountain town. It's smoky, it's just dark, the color grading, it just makes it, I was already just like had an immense amount of dread with the opening shot. I was like, oh god, this is going to be one hell of a movie. And then Aiden is walking around town. He meets his dad at his job, sees his truck, hops in, and his dad's I think that was a coal mine they were working in, so he's like, you can't come with me, stay in the truck, it's too dangerous. And then his dad goes in there, and of course they get attacked by something that we don't see just yet. We see kind of shadows, but I don't really think we get a really good glimpse at the creature. But of course, kid's getting impatient because they don't understand time. He goes in there as well. And this shot just, this whole opening really sold me. But the camera is behind Aiden, following him into a pitch black doorway. And once Aiden crosses the threshold, the screen goes black and Antlers pops up. And I was like, oh my God. So what did you think about that kind of opening sequence?
So the whole opening sequence is really cool. It's funny that you say like the whole scenery kind of filled you with dread, with all of like everything kind of being like destitute and broken down and whatnot. And it was funny because I actually told Jessica as that opening crawl was happening, like, minus the mountains and the Oregon-ness of it, where I live now currently, there's a lot of that like kind of Rust Belt agriculture. So instead of like being industrial decay, out here we have like agricultural decay. Like you'll be driving down the road and you'll see like 150-year-old farmhouse just in a field that's just like falling apart. So I'm like, this feels a lot like where we live now. Oh my so it didn't so much as fill me with dread as I felt connected to Lucas as a character a little bit more, because I'm like, yeah, buddy, I understand.
I get that.
Like you just don't want to sit in the car outside of this rundown wherever the fuck place, because there was no indication that was a mine. Like up until they said, oh, hey, this is a mine at like the 40-minute mark or something. Right. Jessica and I were like, why does this building have tunnels in it?
Yeah, well, that's what I said. I was taking notes and I was like, his dad goes inside the factory. That's not right. And then they say coal mine. Yeah, like 40 minutes later, I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like we were both just like, what the fuck is this? And there's a little bit of a disconnect between like the person who is directly telling the story and the viewer. Like, we're just supposed to already have that. Now I know how you feel when the movie's talking about like some hooky spooky like occult concept that I'm like, I got you. And you're like, I don't fucking get it.
I'm not understanding.
Like there was a good portion of the movie where it's like, I don't get what they're trying to tell me.
Okay, that's
because you've been to the Northeast or the Northwest.
Yeah,
I've only ever been to like semi-northern California. So I've never been up there. I don't know what that shit looks like.
Even though it was, BC, Canada, it does very much vibe like, and that's probably why they chose to shoot there, because it does very much vibe like Oregon. Obviously not like Portland or Seattle, but, out kind of more out in the boonies. So since this is a Wendigo movie, and this probably might be I think this might be the first one that we've covered. Let's talk about just a little background on what the Wendigo is. It is a legend that originates from the Algonquin indigenous people in Canada and the northern United States. It is described as a malevolent spirit or giant creature that personifies greed, hunger, and winter. People can be transformed into a Wendigo by succumbing to cannibalism, extreme hunger, greed, which corrupts their soul. Wendigos are said to have supernatural abilities such as luring people with mimicry, moving quickly through snow, and possessing humans to turn them into cannibals. They are described as they vary, but common features include a gaunt skeletal frame, sallow or gray skin, matted hair, glowing eyes, and sharp teeth and claws. They can be human-sized or much larger, with some legends stating that they grow in size with each person they consume. And their most defining characteristic is an insatiable hunger for human flesh that can never be satisfied. There's a symbolic meaning behind the Wendigo because it is a cautionary tale that serves as a warning against greed and selfishness, particularly in times of scarcity. It also represents cannibalism, the ultimate taboo, and the destructive consequences of consuming one's own kind. And in modern context, it can also symbolize destructive societal forces such as imperialism. So yeah, there's like I briefly got as much about Wendigos as I could, because that's what this movie centers around. And I think, at least in my opinion, with how the Wendigo progresses with Frank's character, I think they did it I almost wanted like a little bit more, especially in the end, which we'll get to. But the progression of him and finding out what happens to him to how he transforms into the Wendigo, which I wanted to see more of that transformation of the creature like exiting his mouth, but I'm sure it was either going to look very goofy or just impossible to do. But
I honestly think, because it's not often that I'll say, oh no, like the entire from beginning to final monster, every bit of it was like, ooh, they did that really fucking well. I genuinely think that they couldn't show it because they were like, it will be this movie's budget plus this movie's budget,
right,
to do it. Like, the technology was there. They were just like, we can't fucking afford this.
Yeah, and with Del Toro as a producer, he probably also had the knowledge to be like, hey, this just isn't going to, if we do it, it's going to cost a lot of money, or we show just enough. And I honestly think what they did with what they had was great, because you see just enough to understand that he is like birthing this Wendigo out of his mouth, and you're like, oh, that sounds horrifying. I don't want to do that at all. So I really enjoyed the progression from, kind of beastie, animal, humanistic thing in the attic or the basement or wherever they were to full-blown Wendigo. Plus, really, and like, again, this is just from my own knowledge, I can't think of a movie that actually shows the progression of a Wendigo from human form to monster form. Typically, the monster is already present in nature. Wendigo movies typically are like, hey, there's a Wendigo and he's attacking. Usually it's not like I didn't even know people could be turned into them. I thought it was just an ancient mythological creature. But according to lore, people can turn into them, which I find fucking fascinating.
Yeah, and see, so the people turning into, so this is one of the things that I take umbrage with.
Oh,
just
go
a
for it.
bit.
Yes.
So from my research, the Wendigo, like the original Wendigo story, comes from a native story where a hunter and his son go into the forest in the winter to get food for the family and the tribe and come back.
Okay.
They get caught in a horrible blizzard, and the hunter eats his son to survive. And
oh my God, I feel like I've actually heard about this story. This sounds very familiar.
And so because he commits the ultimate taboo of not only eating somebody, but eating his own family.
Yeah.
it turns him into a dark spirit. He becomes like the original Wendigo.
Oh, that's so cool.
The Wendigo's presence not necessarily possesses you, but drives you mad into a state where you could also commit cannibalism. And it's the impact of doing something so wrong that you are damaging your own species, like to a point where what you are doing cannot be rectified. There's a level of like human importance that comes along with it. And I don't feel like Frank being a meth cook is a bad enough sin for the Wendigo to come after you. And then he subsequently, through the movie, shows that he has enough care in his heart to lock himself away from his sons. Like, he even puts up his own barrier and says, don't unlock this fucking door that I am building locks on. So there is nothing in this movie to indicate that he has crossed some social barrier that says he even deserves to be a Wendigo.
Well, so I thought the lore was, there's a couple of things of the lore, right? Like, you can either be driven to by committing some act, or can't the Wendigo also attack you to turn you into one? Just like you said, wrong place, wrong time. Isn't that also?
No. So from what I read, I don't think it's werewolf vampire.
Okay.
Like you get bitten and you turn. The reason it drives you insane is because it's a metaphor for starving. You don't just starve in a day.
Right.
It's days and weeks and sometimes months. And then you've got the quote unquote creature circling your mind and saying, hey, you're hungry, aren't you?
Yeah.
Hey, so like the ultimate greed that it's referencing is being so greedy of your own life that you will consume the life of another to stay alive. It's not, oh, I'm so greedy, I want all this money. That's not going to turn you into a Wendigo. That is a whole other European, like gluttony, white-centric Catholicism sin.
Okay.
Not so much as the hoarding things, but like So that's one thing that I take slight umbrage with. Like, it's not enough to ruin the movie, but I'm like, well, did he really deserve this? So, like, this is one of those movies where I'm like, none of these people really deserved what happened.
So I have a slight counterpoint, because I know it's entirely possible we might have missed dialogue, but I know I remember. So I remember Julia, or Paul telling Julia about kind of Frank's history with his family. I know their mother died, and Frank, he's a meth head that he has had to Narcan multiple times. So like, this man has done so many drugs that he's had to been brought back to life. And Julia's like, why is he taking care of these kids? Like, is there not someone else? And he's like, no, it's either him or what, like, the kids are going to be fatherless. So I don't know if that's necessarily a bad enough sin for that to happen, but I mean, if you're not taking care of yourself to the point of you having to be brought back to life, you clearly don't really care about the lives of your kids. So it's a stretch. It's a big stretch.
It is, and I would give it to you if we are looking at it from a less scientific standpoint.
Okay.
Because we know we should all know by now that addiction is a disease. I mean, yes, it's always a choice, but sometimes you're more pre-inclined to have those choices bite you in the ass. So if he was already predisposed to addiction, then the minute he started smoking meth, it was fucking off the rails anyway.
Yeah.
So yes, he is to blame, but also if he's a true addict, and it's not just for storytelling purposes, then he's got some underlying issues that, it may not be quote unquote his fault, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, not taking away the responsibility of him, but there's other factors at play too. And when your wife, so y'all are already fucking poor.
Yeah.
You live in butt crack nowhereville, everything's falling apart. Y'all are both poor, and then your wife dies, and it's just you and these two little boys who are fucking creepy as shit.
Yeah.
And they've probably been creepy as shit their entire fucking lives.
Hot take there. Well, and speaking from someone who literally, I had an addiction as well. I chose my addiction over my family countless times. And I don't know if that's a sin worthy of getting, like possessed by a Wendigo. But I mean, I was so selfish with my addiction and would literally choose it over my wife, my daughter. I drove drunk countless times over the years. So I think enough repetitive behavior of addiction, especially when you're a single parent who has responsibility for two kids, doing that to yourself, to me, it might be warranted that's why he was attacked and turned into one. But again, it is kind of a stretch. I'm just speaking from my personal experience where I made alcohol the number one priority in my life over everything else, which is not how you're supposed to live your life. And that's clearly what he did with meth. And I didn't even get to the point where I had to be revived and he had to be Narcaned, like I said, from Paul, who's a police officer, multiple times. So we'll leave it as that is the answer.
Yeah.
Like, that's the best we got.
It's a really, really muddy societal topic.
Right. Exactly. And they don't fully explain, why. You're right. They don't explain the why, which is good, but also that kind of ambiguity needs to be explained, especially when they have the Native American character come in and talk about the lore. Wow, that was a fucking great conversation. I love that. I love that. So some things I did like, I'm just going to kind of rapid fire these off here. How they set the movie up with, because the IMDb description I like, it doesn't say Wendigo at all, and that's why I think the trailer shouldn't have revealed it. It just says a malevolent creature. And the first scene you see with Lucas, the main kid of the story here, is him going to school, and the teacher, Julia, she's talking about mythology and indigenous people and stuff like that. So it kind of sets that up right away with, you can, if you didn't see the trailer, because sometimes you don't watch trailers, you can get a vibe that this is probably going to be a prevalent theme in the movie if they're presenting it to us at this point in the movie, 5 minutes in. So I think that was great to kind of establish, hey, by the way, this is probably going to be reoccurring throughout the entire movie. I already talked about how underrated Keri Russell is. She's in a lot of great stuff. She's in a really, really underrated alien movie called Dark Skies, which I think is fucking awesome.
Yeah, well,
so good.
Haven't we both seen? Didn't we talk about Dark Skies?
We probably did when we did a bunch of episodes or movies. Yeah,
because I remember watching that and being like, man, this is fucking good.
Yeah, it's a really good underrated movie about an alien, not possession, alien fucking when they take you, whatever it's called. Jesus Christ. Abduction. Good God. So pairing Keri Russell and Jesse Plemons was a very interesting choice that I think worked very well. They play brother and sister, and they also establish in the beginning, which they didn't, and this is one of my issues with the movie, they didn't really explore what exactly happened, but I do think it was important to have that in the story because it connects her to Lucas on a very deep emotional level, because clearly Julia's father abused her when she was younger, and it happened for a while, and it affected her so much that she left the town and then came back 20 years later because she missed her brother and wanted to be around her brother. And so you don't know exactly what happened, but it's very heavily implied there was some sexual, misconduct going on there between father and daughter. And of course now... And
father and son based on one line from Jesse Plemons where he goes, "You don't know what he did to me." And I was like, oh!
Yeah, you're like, oh, what the fuck? Yeah, you left before we had time to even talk about it. Because Paul never left. He just stayed. And so, yeah, the connection between Julia and Lucas is very deep because, yes, Lucas is not in the same situation, of course, but he's in this situation of having to take care of a rabid father and brother because they don't feel well. So he's in this very weird position where he is the backbone of this house. So there's a deep emotional connection there because they both come from extremely fucked up situations. So I do think it was important to establish that so they could have the camaraderie they did, because she looks after him. She wants to help him because she's been in a position of feeling not empowered, but unempowered, or whatever the word I'm looking for is. And that's all she wants to do. She wants to help him. Couple other things here real quick that I want to fire off. Love the Wendigo lore dump that we get about an hour in. You know, the Native American is there to do it, but again, then he just gets dismissed immediately. It's just really, you couldn't be like, well, it does sound crazy, but I mean, it would explain all of the weirdness of all the dead bodies we're finding around that are torn apart. So he just dismisses him right away. Small tangent. I just love Native American folklore and cautionary tales. They're fucking fascinating. Probably one of my favorite, like, folklore. Yeah, so those are just some brief things I liked. I feel, God, we've talked about this movie so differently than normal, but I love all the beats we've hit. Is there anything else hitting? Loved all the beats we've hit. Is there anything else you want to talk about? What worked real quick before we move on?
A few things that really worked for me. Everybody that acted in this movie was somehow very, very accurate in their portrayal of people that exist in a town that size.
Okay.
Like, so, you know, I grew up in a tiny little mountain town in North Carolina. I'm living now in a very, very rural area in Virginia. So the archetypes that are presented in Antlers are very, very similar to the archetypes that are actually in the geographical area that they're in. So I really liked how they were able to really distill and capture the small towniness. And maybe it has something to do, like, don't get me wrong, all the actors except for the children are somebody, like, right. They have some acumen in the industry, but like, none of them are, except for maybe Jesse Plemons, none of them are like A-listers.
Right, yeah.
So there's a nice little, like, celebrity like, oh, I know your face, but
right.
You're I really like how all of the daytime shots are shot.
Okay.
Because you get this, everything has this weird tint of, like, gray blue.
Yes.
And, like, if it's not gray blue, it's rust. And it just kind of solidifies my previous point of that small towniness, kind of lost to progress, kind of feel. It gets its themes on point 100%.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, totally agree. And to me, an important part of the post-production process of filmmaking is how you color grade the film, because a movie like this, it is exactly how it needs to look with the color grading, because if it was more saturated and more happy looking, it wouldn't have hit the same. But it just feels fucking bleak. It just feels bleak and sad, and this town has just gone through so much, and the characters in this town have all just seen it all. So I agree with that. Rapid firing off my what didn't work, because there's not really much to talk about on each topic. I do feel like the story had a lot going on in it at times. Unresolved trauma, poverty, the drug problem happening in town, a Wendigo, is a lot going on. So it's not convoluted, but it just feels like there's a lot of things that they're trying to make commentary on that they don't fully flesh out. Some wonky moments of CG, but overall not terrible. And then the ending scene, which we will talk about right after this, is slightly anticlimactic. For the purposes of the film, I get it. I'm sure that creature costs a lot of money. They only had a $10 million budget, and that's what they could make happen with it. But I wanted a little bit more fighting, but making a human fight a Wendigo, it probably just looks silly. Any rapid fire dislikes that you had about the movie?
I mean, can we upgrade how bullies bully kids now?
Yeah.
Like, this was supposed to be a fairly modern movie. Like, taking the stuffed animal and rubbing it on your crotch. Like, that's like, I wasn't bullying like that in the 90s. That's some 80s level bullying right there. Like, we need to upgrade the depiction of how bullies bully kids, because I guarantee you all of that would have been done through social media for that kid. Now, granted, he's poor. He doesn't have access to the internet, but they just pick on him for being poor.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you do. You don't physically assault the poor kid. Like, he's already poor.
Yeah, he's smashing him up against the glass at one point. You're like, Jesus Christ, kid. All right, so that ending real quick, just because I felt like it was a little lackluster with the final kind of battle between Jules and the monster. But I will say with that ending, I love, because it's bleak as shit. And again, I love a bleak ending because they also established in this movie that we didn't touch on, the Wendigo, it can only be killed a certain way through the heart when it's at its weakest point. But in doing so, that means the Wendigo spirit can possess, or not possess, but basically go into someone that is nearby the premises. So Jules has to kill Aiden. So she kills the Wendigo, kills Aiden. Lucas is, and I love this because Jules and Paul kind of take Lucas in because who else is he going to have? And it's assumed that, well, we just got to wait for Lucas to turn into this creature, I guess, and kill it. But the ending shot is of Paul coughing up this black, like, mucus shit. And you're like, oh, he's next in line to have this creature possess him going forward. And then it just fucking ends. It just fucking ends. I loved that ending. Did the ending work for you?
I mean, so yes and no.
Okay.
So for the sake of the movie and everything that happened, and hey, let's just put bleak on bleak. Yes, it definitely worked. It definitely left me feeling like, that sucks.
This movie,
Jesse Plemons' character is my favorite character.
Yeah,
like, how you gonna do me dirty like this? But again, in the lore aspect, Jesse Plemons' character, for all intents and purposes, would never be a Wendigo. Not only was, and even if we're going in universe lore, he wasn't around it for long enough.
Right, yeah.
Like, it was able to take Aiden because it was
right there.
Undescript amount of time for the entire thing. And for some reason, he was kept in the same room because then he started showing signs. Like, Aiden was already on the path to be that anyway. So it jumping from Frank to Aiden, I was like, all right, well, we knew that was going to happen. That's why he was in the room the entire time.
I just remembered the scene, though, where the Wendigo does attack and actually get Paul, maybe because it established a connection with him, like a actual physical connection with the horns into Paul. That's why, that's all I got, though. That's the best I got.
The more we try and justify, the flimsier it actually gets.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm totally okay up to a point suspending my disbelief in my lore brain.
Yeah, that's fair. Especially because this is actually based in the Native American lore. If they maybe kind of did their own thing with it, maybe it'd be different, but they don't establish enough to give us some of the answers that we kind of need. So that's where we're at.
And see, like, if we want to get like lore-y, then the Wendigo is much more the umbrella version of the Skinwalker in this movie. It's much more Skinwalker-esque than it would be Wendigo.
Yeah,
but that's neither here nor there. But I mean, the ending for thematic purposes, it was good.
Yeah.
I was upset that it happened to Jesse Plemons' character. Like, yeah. I feel like if it were to be slightly more impactful in a way, you would put that on Jules.
Yeah.
Because Jules did the saving. She has taken up the mantle of taking care of Lucas. Oh, now she's got it.
Right.
Like, it's the ultimate, you shouldn't, here you go, giving a fuck when it's not your turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Type of shit. So I feel like it would have been more impactful that way, because Jesse Plemons, he's just trying to help his sister. Like, if it were up to him, he would have written these bodies off, called in the feds, and been like, this is on y'all now.
Now
like, there's too many bodies for me as a small town cop to handle.
Now I need to reach out to Scott Cooper and pick his brain on this movie. Hooked for me, I was, from the cold open I was in, but the scene that really drew me in was Lucas's Three Bears story, because obviously he's describing the situation that is happening at home, which you can pick up on very easily. But then Lucas picking up the dead animal and putting it in a plastic bag. I was like, oh, he's like gotta feed these things like dead things, like freshly dead things. So it was kind of like I was in from the cold open, then the movie hooked me with that story and then reeled me in once he was picking up dead things. Did you have a hooked moment in this?
The cold open monologue.
Yep.
It's just so fucking fire. It's so fucking fire. And it's funny that you mention the story that Lucas told, because so number one, when the kids are like, oh, he can't read. And I'm like, well, that's fucking mean. And then the entire story is drawings. I'm like, oh shit, can this kid not read?
Yeah.
And then he quote unquote finishes the story. And I'm like, all right, this is an English class. She's going to say it. She said it's good, but the story had no ending.
Yeah.
It just stops in the middle. Like, you're doing a bad job teaching. You need to teach these children to resolve the story.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, again, for theming purposes, it makes sense.
Well, I also...
But from like a viewer's perspective, it's just like, man, it's not a full story.
Well, because he said it, but at least the bears had each other, and Julia's look on her face, she was like, okay, that's great. I think there might have been more, but she was like, all right, we gotta cut this off. This is way too dark. But again, speculation, we don't know. Horror moment for me is after is Frank killing the principal and then beginning to grow the fucking creature out of his mouth. It is a very visceral scene. The reveal of the Wendigo turning around into the coal mine after Julia with the human face over its actual face was the creepiest goddamn shit I've ever seen.
That was my horror. That was my horror
okay,
moment.
Yeah.
And you cannot tell me, like, you can say it all you want, but I will not believe you unless you agree that was the most direct yet indirect homage to the original Hellraiser that I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Because his name is Frank.
Yeah.
And the face slides off the body.
Oh, shit.
It is almost a 1-for-1 of that scene in the attic with Frank.
Yeah.
As he's like, bring me more bodies, except it's not a human.
Oh, I like that. Nice connection. I love it. Favorite kill? Paul. Fuck that kid. Great kill. Fuck that kid. He's a bitch. Or not a bitch. He's a dick. Fuck that kid. Paul was my favorite kill. The ginger-headed kid, the bully.
Yeah.
Wait, Paul, that's not right. Hold on. That's not right. Paul is Jesse Plemons. What?
I thought the kid's name was also Paul. But
maybe it was the ginger kid that was bullying Lucas. That was a great kill because you don't see it fully, but you see the monster just ripping it to pieces. So, what about you? Favorite kill?
I really, really like the kill of the principal.
Yeah.
I also like, because of it's almost such a cop-out for how much of a lead up it was. I like the Wendigo kill because it's, and again, going into Frank didn't deserve to be a Wendigo in the first place.
Yeah.
It almost like gives up in, like, for a brief moment, you almost feel like, oh, did Frank come back and like let Jules kill him? Because it's very anticlimactic of a monster death. So it almost leads you to believe like, oh, the monster wanted to die, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, but he didn't need to be a Wendigo.
Yeah. Favorite character for me is Paul. Jesse Plemons is just such a great actor, and he's great in this. Typically, my favorite character is who I like most as an actor, not the actual character themselves sometimes, but I just think he had a really grounded performance and wanted to be there for his sister while also having his own demons that we don't even hear about and trying to protect a small town. He was wearing many hats in this movie. So, favorite character?
Yeah, Jesse Plemons' character, Paul. He was number one. He was the only person in the entire movie that had any ounce of like situational common sense.
Yes. Facts.
And then he also, like, you can tell he's super, super tortured in his own life, but he has decided, fuck it, we're not dealing with my problems. We're going to deal with everyone else's problems.
Yeah.
and I really like that as a character, because a lot of the time you get that side character that makes it a lot, like, harken back to a handful of episodes ago, Darkness Falls.
Oh yeah.
You get that cop guy, and he, for like up until the end of the movie, he's very much trying to make it about himself.
Yeah.
And that tends to be like kind of a plot, and it that's where some like tension lies. But Jesse Plemons' character is just like, nah, what do you need from me? Like, I'm here to be a good cop and do my job and help my community. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
How do we fix this?
Just like my favorite kill, my least favorite character is Harrison, I think his name is Lucas's bully. Fucking just go do something else. This kid is already having a rough life. Look at him. Like, just look at the kid. He looks defeated, and he's what, 10 or 12? Leave him alone. Least favorite character.
My least favorite character, and only because he was just an absolute wasted resource, was the former sheriff, the native guy.
Yes.
He should have had a way bigger role for a movie about monsters in his culture.
Correct. I didn't have a favorite line, but you did. Did you already say it?
I did have a favorite line. I have not said it yet.
Go for it.
It's the final line of the opening monologue. Pray that it desires not you.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't even pray that it's not going to desire anything. You can only pray that it desires not you.
That's
it's a fucking metal line, and it gives you it takes everything from that previous crawl of text to where you're like,
anybody's fair game. Yeah, anybody's fair game. My review, if I didn't shamelessly plug my own show on Letterboxd, would be, I can barely remember to feed myself most days, let alone an angry mythological beast who needs fresh raw meat. Would not be doing that well at all. Let's do some post-review shit here. I'm going to blow through this because my computer is dying. Taglines: pray it desires not you, and it hungers for you. Trivia: filmed in the same location and town as Rambo First Blood from 1982. This was filmed from October 1st, 2018 and finished on November 30th, 2018, but I got shelved for 3 fucking years. Wendigos, as depicted in original indigenous stories, do not have antlers or horns of any kinds. They are described as gaunt skeletal humanoids, ranging from human-sized to giants, who give off a foul smell and a feeling of cold when they are near. This is also funny. Wendigos are mythological creatures from the Algonquin folklore, like I've mentioned, a Native American group who primarily lived on the eastern coast of North America and in the Great Lakes regions, on the opposite side of the continent from Oregon's setting. 2 petty goofs here, because I fucking love petty goofs. The flag on the uniform that Paul wears is facing the wrong way. Police uniforms have the flag with the stars facing the rear, while military personnel have the flag with the stars facing forward. And in Oregon, liquor isn't sold in convenience stores, rather state-run liquor stores only, because that's something else about Julia. She is battling some sort of alcoholic addiction. I know, at least I picked up on that, because she's constantly looking at the liquor and like, nope, I'm good. So rated 5.9 out of 10 on IMDb, 2.7 out of 5 on Letterboxd, 59% on the tomato meter, and a 67% audience score. What did you give this, Corey?
I gave it a 3.5.
All right, right on par then with me. I gave it a 4. Similar movies according to Letterboxd, we have Cobweb, Weapons, The Babadook, The Boogeyman, and Barbarian. Similar movies according to IMDb, we have The Night House, The Boogeyman, The Empty Man, Underwater, and No Exit. I only found 3 reviews there. Everyone was, 1, ripping this movie to pieces, and 2, going on for an eternity about it. So I have 3. That's all I've got.
I've got 5.
All right, you start first, then I'll splice mine in between.
Alrighty. So now some of these, they are just ripping it to pieces.
Yeah, that's fine.
A half-star review from Anakari. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but it wasn't this, and it was bad.
Damn. Clearly she didn't see the trailer. 2 stars from Lily. Jesse Plemons is fighting for his life to stay awake in this.
I picked this one because the review doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Oh, I love these. Yes, hit me with it.
So a half-star review from Just McCon. Literally don't even know when I saw this.
Wait, what date is it from?
Watched November 20th, 2023.
Okay. Letterboxd tells you when you watch it.
Yeah, it tells you when you're reviewing it. I don't know if this person saw it and then reviewed it days later, or if they saw it when it came out and just forgot about it, and they're like, "Oh shit, let me review this."
Love that.
Like this review makes absolutely no sense.
4 stars from Jack McDermott. I liked the part with the antlers. Stupid.
A 5-star from Big Man Teely. Always when to go, never when to stay.
That's so good. All right, my last one here is 4 stars from Jack Mayer. For a teacher, she sure did seem confused about what makes something a fruit or a vegetable.
A 5-star from KP Faraz. And this, I have to explain, it is in all bold, which how you are able to bold text in the comment section of Letterboxd, I don't know. And it just says Wendigos with a period.
Love it. Oh, did you have one more?
Yeah, a 5-star from Oscar Duria, arguably the best urban legend adaptation. Unfortunately, Oscar, this is not urban.
This is very...
It's the exact opposite of urban, sir.
Very unurban. Oh, goodness. If you enjoy the show, please rate and review on your favorite podcast app of choice. I want to give a shout out to someone who not only follows me on Instagram, but follows the podcast on Spotify and comments on every fucking episode. His name is Eltenda. Thank you, homie. You are literally the coolest. I get comments from him every week. I love it.
I'm not going to lie. This person comments on so many things.
Yeah.
I thought it was somebody in our camp.
No, it's we're friends on, he like sends, we DM each other just talking about movies and shit. Like, he's so cool. I've been meaning to do it for a while. So Eltenda, thank you for commenting. I do genuinely appreciate any comments we get and always will heart them and respond. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Slasher app, Blue Sky Threads, and YouTube at frightmarespodcast. Our email is stayspooky@outlook.com. If you want to check me out on Letterboxd, that is Dr. Proctor. You are...
Frightmare's Cory.
Boo to the ya. Be sure to follow our sister podcast, The Shameless Picture Show, and also check out the Dead-Eyed Millennial Film Club as well. Next episode, I'm going to have a guest, but I don't know who yet. This is going to release, this should release on the 26th, and I have a set recording with someone for Friday. So it might be them, but I'm supposed to have one set tomorrow, the 20th, but they have not responded to me yet. So it's going to be one or the other, and I'm not going to say who it is because they're both going to be fucking awesome. So
maybe both.
Maybe one's going to be a bonus episode for November, and then the other one will be for December. So I guess until the next episode, stay tuned and
stay spooky.